Hello and welcome to the Kemetic How-To Guide for Egyptian Pagans and Kemetics. I'm your host, Sharon. So, the holidays especially, that's a time when a lot of people are looking for donations, a lot of organizations. You see the commercials all the time for the Salvation Army and, the Red Cross, things like that. But, uh, the call for donations, can come from all over. And it's like they say there's, need knows no season. Well, suppose you've got uh, a church or a charitable organization or something, you're thinking about sending them some money, but you want to make sure they're on the up and up. I mean, hey, you know, most of us watching this aren't, fabulously wealthy. If you are, then send us money. Um, so, you want to make sure that you send it to a good place, right? If you're going to, share some of your hard-earned money, there are ways that you can investigate and protect yourself and make sure that you're dealing with a reputable organization. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today. First of all, any church, charitable organization, a charity, or a nonprofit company, and that can include things like hospitals. As a matter of fact, I know a gentleman in the area that I'm working, right now. He's trying to get a hospital for people with spinal cord injuries put together. And, so I got kind of an inside peek in how that goes on starting a nonprofit corporation. All of them are done the same way. They are all listed in the U.S., with the IRS. They are 501c3 nonprofits. And there's probably a similar designation in Canada, Britain and elsewhere. But that is a specific code with the IRS that designates them as a tax-free entity. And that means that they will not pay taxes on, their assets, their money. But the thing is, they can't have a profit. They can't keep, assets like a corporation like, GM or Ford or whoever. They cannot sell stock. All of their money has to come from, either donations or they can do things to make money, but they can't roll a profit over. They have to spend it, on their more of their services. So, by the way, if you are part of a congregation or a coven or anything like that, and you want to start a church, what you do is you fill out the paperwork to become a 501c3. And it's not as hard as it sounds. All you have to do is you come up with an article of incorporation. There's a very good book called Coven Craft. I've actually read it, and they give you a sample of articles of incorporation and, what things you have to do in order to get that done if you want to start a church. Some of the other stuff in there about, the history of Wicca and some of the other stuff in that book is just skim through that and get to the good stuff if you're interested in forming a church. And that's a good idea if you've got, two or more people that, are willing to say, yeah, this is our church, this is our, congregation. By getting that status, you can ask for donations and do so legally, because if a group presents themselves as a church and they ask for money and things like that, technically that's fraud. If you are not registered, then you can't ask people for money as a church. You have to ask as yourself. So one way that you can find out about who is in charge, who's on the board of directors, where are they based, is to go on a website called guidestar.org. And as a matter of fact, I got a holiday card from a friend, and they had a charity on the back. It was called Heifer International. It sounded really neat. So I decided to check it out on GuideStar. By the way, if you go on their website, there's a picture of a creepy guy in a business suit. And it looks like a website for a phone company or something, but it's actually not. You just go ahead, you create a username and a password, and you can go and you can look up anything. You can look up churches. You can look up, like I said, Heifer International. When I typed them in, I got where they're based, who's on the board of directors, what their annual budget is, their forms that they've filed with the IRS for the past 3 years, how long they've been in existence. It was really cool. So that's the kind of thing that lets you know, hey, they're on the up and up. and it told us a little bit about, what they were doing. Heifer International, what they do is they give calves to poor families in rural areas, around the world, and they raise them for milk and food animals. Their whole mission is to end hunger. And it was really neat. You can check them out on GuideStar. Um, if you don't see a whole lot of information, that lets you know that either they're real lax in filing, or they don't want to share what it is that they're doing. And one thing you can do, every 501c3 has to file a certain form called a 990 form with the IRS every year. And that's public record. You can request it. If you don't see it on GuideStar, what you do is you look for where they're based and what their phone number is, whatever. Call them up. Say, hey, I'd like to see your 990 forms because I want to know, more about you. If I send you money, where's it going to go? Of course, they can say anything, but if they don't send you the form, then that means, they might not want to share with you, where it's going, or what they're, spending it on. One of the big excuses that I've heard is that, oh, well, we need the money to help run, copy machines, or, to pay for basic supplies, and things like that. And this was with a very big organization, that a religious organization that I used to be a part of years ago. And that was their favorite lie, was that, oh, well, it's all for copy machines and upkeep in our centers and things like that. Actually, the leader of the organization, who lives in Japan, is like fabulously wealthy. He's bought several paintings by Monet and this, that, and the other, and all of their centers that they have in bigger cities, they buy them, because they can use it as like a tax shelter or something like that. So the thing is, you don't know unless you see the paperwork, and thankfully it's all public record, so you can ask. And it sounds like a lot of hassle, and a lot of people wouldn't think, oh, well, I'm not going to bother these people. What if they tell me no? Be insistent. Hey, times are tough. We want to hang on to our hard-earned dollars, and if we want to make a difference, we want to be able to see it. So it's within your right to ask and to make sure that your efforts are going to a worthwhile cause, and it's not all getting chewed up by people taking their cut. So another thing that you can do, and this is something else that I really like to tell people and encourage them to do. In your area, there's probably lots of charities, and one of my favorite is to give to women's shelters. And the cool thing is, you don't have to give them any money. A lot of them will actually take donations of clothes and old bed sheets and things like that, shoes, because you have women, if they're coming out of an abusive situation, sometimes they have to leave with just what they've got on them. And women's shelters give them a safe and anonymous place to stay, and help them to start over. And the neat thing too is, and I know this from working with charitable organizations, once you know one in town, they know everybody's got everybody else on the Rolodex. So once you get in with one, then they can refer you to another. So if you ever need services, once you find one, they can refer you to others, and you'd be surprised what things are out there to help people. And a lot of them are very good at doing things on a shoestring budget. So these are good things to know, to help you and to help your friends too. So hopefully this will help you, not just in your Kemetic or Egyptian pagan practice, but just, getting along, and it's something useful that you can share with friends, even Christian friends, because, the problems with money, it's not limited to one faith or another. So, for the Kemetic How-To Guide, this is Sharon, wishing you Synapti.